Hey, good day, good afternoon, and wherever you are in the world. My name is Marcel Hyde, channel Marcel Mindset.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I want to remind you guys, please hit that subscribe button below, hit that notification bell, because these are episodes that you don't want to miss out on. For those of you out there, if you're lacking in faith, you're lacking in hope, God is there for you. God is willing to guide you and lead you and direct you. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of Marcel Mindset TV. Remember, guys, hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and if you find any type of value from these episodes, from these podcasts that we deliver on a weekly basis, make sure you guys go out there and you share it to someone that you think it could help them grow. So today on the show, we are very blessed to have a special guest here today. This man right here is changing people's lives day in and day out. He's figured out the money game, which a lot of people on this show come to. He's an entrepreneur. He's got multiple businesses running, and you're going to want to stay tuned. You're going to want to lock in, and you're really going to want to listen to what this man has to say. And he started from the bottom. He built it himself up to the top, and he's the real deal. He's the CEO, and I'd like to introduce Andre Gordon.
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it.
Yes, Andre, man. How you doing, Andre?
Good, man. Can't complain. Another day above ground is always another day to be thankful, right?
That's good. That's good. 100%. I agree with you on that. So, on this show, we talk about financial literacy and really getting your money right. So we have the opportunity to have Andre here on the show. For our audience out there who don't know you yet, they should know you, but they might not know you yet. Who is Andre Gordon?
Honestly, I'm just somebody from Toronto that's a go-getter. Started from a very young age, being born to Jamaican parents. Yep. I think the hustle was just instilled into my blood.
Yeah.
Growing up was very, very rough. And ultimately, I realized at a very early age, you dictate your destination.
Yep.
No one's going to decide it for you, so you dictate it yourself. So the number one thing I prided myself on was I want to be just who I am. I never wanted to be Andre Gordon, the real estate agent, Andre Gordon, the scientist, Andre Gordon, the teacher. I wanted to be, what do you do? Who are you? I'm Andre Gordon. Beautiful wife, beautiful cars, nice home, travel the world. Andre Gordon is my title. So as a whole, I tell you, I'm just a regular kid from Toronto that just seen the vision in life and went after it.
Yeah. And I really respect that, because it takes a lot for one individual to really go after the things that they want in this life and to create that. We could just tell from your mindset and the things that you're saying that you have a certain mindset. You're wired a certain way. You know exactly what you want, and you're not afraid to go for it.
Absolutely not.
Right. So I really respect that. So, you do a little bit of day trading, right? And I want to ask you, what is day trading? Because we hear it a lot on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and all these things. And how can someone start to learn that skill?
Absolutely. I've been day trading now. I started back in 2017 through the stock market. I think a lot of people know me for day trading, even though I've done so many different things, from car rental, Airbnb, real estate, e-commerce, etc. But day trading is just the buying and selling of assets online, right? So a lot of people are familiar with the stock market, where you invest into a company like Apple, Google, Facebook, etc. So I started off with stocks. Of course, Canada was legalizing marijuana back in 2017.
Yep.
And I said, there's money to be made there. Let's dive into it.
Exactly.
And I started with that, eventually branched off into the foreign exchange currency market.
Right.
I think that's where I'd say most people know me through that. I've been able to build a really good portfolio for myself, helped a lot of people around the world learn that skill set. So that's really what day trading is, just buying and selling of currencies up and down as a whole. And where people can start, I think as a whole, today's society, YouTube University has changed the game.
Exactly.
Right? So I think the average person wanted to start in day trading. You could start at something like babypips.com. You could start via YouTube. But I highly recommend people, and I not just day trading, I think in any craft when it comes to the business world, you got to seek mentorship. You got to find someone that's done it first, that's went through the mistakes. Because I think, for example, let's do day trading as an example. You make money in the markets by following a specific strategy. Okay. If you learn from 20 different people's videos on YouTube, you're going to try to subconsciously try to connect and combine them all. And you're not going to win and find your edge in the market. But when you have a mentor, you can now say, okay, they're teaching me this philosophy. This is their checklist. I'm going to follow this. I should get the exact same results as that person, as you would if you did real estate and you follow one specific realtor.
Exactly. Yeah. So pretty much mentorship is key to kind of figuring out the game. Because like you said, you dropped a big word, subconsciously, because you're watching all these people. Subconsciously, you might just start doing what these people you've seen on YouTube, right? So you talk about mentorship. Are you offering mentorship services to people?
Yes. So I do mentorship in a day trading and e-commerce space. I guess I'll put it out there now. Some people now know about it as well too. I've started recently doing mentorship for small business owners.
Wow.
I've had a lot of friends that were graphic designers, social media managers, barbers, hairstylists, and they're looking to expand their brand online and internationally. So I started mentoring that, but I've been doing mentorship for day trading for 4 years now. I've anywhere north of 1,200 students.
Wow.
I've been able to mentor and help all around the world across 15 countries, been able to travel, meet them in person, do events with them in person and stuff. So I provide mentorship on a intermediate to advanced level for day trading. For e-commerce and businesses, I start from very basic all the way up to advanced levels.
Okay, that's very good. So at the end of this podcast, we'll make sure we get Andre's information so you guys can sign up for his coaching, his mentorship, because why reinvent the wheel? If someone's done it, just go to that person and learn from them. Pay. You got to pay the money sometimes. Invest in yourself. So Andre, I want to give you props because you're an entrepreneur, and that's a tough gig, is entrepreneurship. Everybody tosses entrepreneurship around like it's something simple, like you wake up and there's $1 million in your bank account. But I know there's probably been sleepless nights. I know there's been no money. I know there's been a lot of error. I know there's been probably a lot of self-doubt. I know there's been a lot of rainy days. So my question to you is, what does it mean to be an entrepreneur to you?
I believe to be an entrepreneur means to take ownership of your life, right? Being a CEO is everything to me. I have on my manifestation affirmation behind me. I am a chairman, which means you're control of your life. You're a CEO. My clothing brand, CEO, shit only. Everything's about being that boss. And I think being an entrepreneur to me is knowing I'm going to take the bad that comes with the good and take the good that comes with the bad, as long as it's on my terms. So you're so right. I'll be honest with you, Marcel. It's been a journey. I feel a lot of people, I always say, people see the glory, but they don't see the story behind it. You have to really know where I come from and what I've done to get to where I am today. But I've had moments where, for example, before I started day trading on a full-time level, I had my own car dealership in Woodbridge, small town north of Toronto. And I was at my office 16, 17 hours, 6 days a week.
Wow.
Doing whatever I could. And for those that are familiar with the Woodbridge area, you know, there's not many Jamaican owners around there. So
no,
I was in a dogfight every single day. Not only am I looking for clientele, I'm doing whatever I can to stop people from dipping into my pot of customers and clientele. And I'm trying to learn at the same time how to day trade, how to run an online business. So I had to sacrifice a lot of things. I had to sacrifice sleep. I had to sacrifice, unfortunately, a relationship I had at the time. I had to say, hey, you know, we got to go separate ways because this is where my focus is. I had to, I was $30,000 in debt.
Wow.
And most people hear that and be like, okay, student loans. I didn't go to college or university, so it wasn't student loans. What do you call them? Cash money, money marks. I owed all the money. I had like a 500 credit score. I sacrificed clubs. I never went to a club until I was 23 years old. I wasn't smoking, wasn't drinking. Like I would
Wow.
just sacrifice my entire social life to say, I got to get my life together.
Yep.
Once I get things together, be doing what I want to do, then I'll come back to that. But now it's
Exactly.
exciting because when I come back to that world,
Yep.
it's not the local clubs they're going to. It's the ones in Miami. It's the ones in
Right.
Los Angeles. And
Exactly.
but I think as a whole, you're always going to go through trials and tribulations as an
Right.
entrepreneur.
Yep.
Right. I'd be lying if I said it's been sunshine and roses after I started making six figures. It hasn't been. I've
Right.
had moments where I skyrocketed and I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Yep.
I've had moments where things just dropped and I'm like, wow, should I go
Right.
look back for a job? I've had moments of them both, but
Right.
as a whole, you fall back into the entrepreneur mindset of, okay,
Exactly.
you know what? I'm a boss. Boss has got to figure out. Boss has got to make the tough decision. So
Right.
what decision do I got to make today to take care of my tomorrow? And sometimes it's the sad ones of, hey, you know what? Maybe we have to not attend a birthday party because we got to
Right.
finish that book. We got to work on ourselves. We got to get our mental health right. We got to work out in the gym. We got to,
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. Yeah. And you're on that journey and you're showing us your success and you're being successful on that journey and you're committed. And it's only up from here for you, right? So wish you all the best on that journey, Andre. And you've inspired me to keep going as well, too, seeing what you're doing. So thank you, brother. And you're inspiring other people out there as well. And it is Black History Month. So shout out to the Black History Month. Shout out to Black people doing things out here,
Absolutely.
So that's huge, brother. So I want to ask you, Andre, a lot of people, they talk about passion, right? And then they talk about, should I follow my passion or should I follow the money or should I follow both?
This is one of those questions that when I get asked this question, I think it's not determined. There's variables. Okay.
Yep.
I think there's variables that come into this because, for example, there's an individual that says, okay, should I follow my passion or follow the money? But in the backup question now comes, do you pay your own rent? Do you pay your own mortgage? Do you have kids?
Yep.
Do you come from money? Is there $10,000 set aside for you if you were to fail?
Right.
Mom and dad in your corner? Do you have a spouse in your? So I think there's variations of it, but I'll kind of share with you how I viewed it myself. Like when I was 18 years old, I said, okay, cool. I'm a man now. I got to make a decision as to what route do I take with my life.
Exactly.
Basketball is no longer the thing because I didn't grow to the height that I wanted to be, unfortunately. But I said, I know what I like. I know I love cars.
Yep. And
I said, let me follow the passion of going to the car route. So let me start selling cars. And it led me down a very lonely, broke road. I will be honest. So I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick with that because cars is all I know. And one of the scariest things in life sometimes is when you're not exposed to much, your paradigm is not shifted to where it needs to be.
Right.
Sometimes you think your passion is your passion, but it's really not your passion. It's just
Yes. Wow.
So for the longest time, I thought basketball or cars are my passion, but it's just all that I knew growing up.
Exactly. Right.
So when I started making money, I was like, okay, let me do the things that I haven't been able to do before, such as travel.
Yep.
And from what people see me as on social media, opposed to who I am in reality, I'm very introverted.
Yeah.
Okay. I love to be by myself. So being able to travel and talk to people, network, is something I never thought I would want to do.
Yeah.
But being able to go, for example, I was just in Jamaica last week.
Yep.
And being on a resort, sitting at the bar and just chatting, saying, hey, what do you do for a living? What's your background? What's your name, religion, all these different things. It's so exciting. But so to go back to that question, I think sometimes you got to follow the money until you can figure out what your passion really is.
Wow.
And for some individuals, if you have the backing financially from friends and family, I'm going to tell you, life is too short to not follow your passion. So I know it sounds very hypocritical as Andre, what are you telling me?
Right.
Identify yourself. What's your situation? And say, okay, do I have financial backing to follow my passion that if I follow my face, I don't have to live on the street. I don't have to eat from garbage cans.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if I don't have that, then I will tell you personally, get good at sales. Sales is probably the number one thing in the world. Get good at sales, make some money, stack your money, invest your money, and then go follow your passion.
Exactly. Yeah. I like that perspective that you just dropped. You know what I mean? Because it depends on the situation that you're in. You know what I mean? So if you're in a situation where you have to pay your bills, maybe you have to go and get a job. You know, it's not your passion, but while you're doing your job, you can also be working on your passion.
Exactly. I think that's one of the things I personally, like, don't get me wrong, I love social media. Made a lot of money from social media.
Right.
But the one thing I hate from social media is people knocking jobs. Like,
Yep.
quit your job, be an entrepreneur. And it's like, for one,
Yep.
we need pilots. I need someone to fly the plane. I don't want a simulator flying the plane.
It's true.
We need doctors. We need
Exactly.
teachers.
Yeah.
We need these things.
It's
You
true.
know what I mean? And I think at the same time, you need cash flow to take care of your business. So this thought process of quit your job, go all in on your business, it's BS. You know what I mean? You need the cash flow. And it's like, once you get my personal recommendation, I tell people, have 6 months of expenses saved up. And once you do that and you're making double what you're making at your job, now make the decision. Does it make sense to leave, walk away, and pursue my business? Yes.
That's great advice, because right now on TikTok, people are saying, go all in on your side hustle, go all in as an entrepreneur. And then people do that, and then they can't pay their mortgage. They can't pay their bills. Their wife leaves them, So make sure, like Andre said, he's an entrepreneur. He's telling you straight, make sure you guys are set up and the money's flowing before you make that jump.
Exactly.
So I like that advice that you're giving, Andre. That's really good advice. So I want to ask you, mindset. You've dropped mindset a few times on this show, on this episode, and you have this mindset about you. Like you're wired a certain way. You talked about paradigms, subconscious mind. So clearly you've done your homework, you've done your research, and you've worked on yourself. You have this winner's mindset. When I think of Andre Gordon, I think of a winner. You know what I mean? Like LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Andre Gordon is up there, Like I think about that, and I'm manifesting that, and you've manifested that, and you made me think in that way, CEO shit only, right? So I want to ask you, what does mindset mean to you, and how do you keep a strong mindset in a world full of uncertainty?
Mindset is everything. It's the number one thing. So I'll give you an example. A common question I get from people, which is weird. So I'm not a relationship guru or anything, but people always ask, I'm be like, hey, how do I get a strong relationship with my spouse, whether it's husband, wife, etc.? And it always goes back into everyone's looking for that Jay-Z, Beyonce power couple. Right? And I would say as a whole, they were powerful on their own before they came together.
Exactly.
And it takes the mindset to understand that. So I mentioned that, why this is important. Your bank account's always going to meet you where your mindset's at.
Wow.
Now, that's why we always hear the stories of the people that win the lottery and they go back to being broke. They weren't mentally ready for that money.
No.
So that's why I say mindset is literally everything. So for me personally, I'm going to be honest. One of my biggest investments at an early young age, I think I was 19 or 20 at the time, I'm 29 now, was I invested into coaching. I invested into an individual. It was, I believe, 16 or 1700 US.
Right.
And it was a 90-day program. It was called something with mindset, soul, and health, physical, or something like that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's talking about how we're all connected through our soul, our heart, our mind, etc. Right. And that's what led me into the world of personal development. Right. Now, most people hear personal development, they're like, I gotta read books. Hell no. I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do that. But I'm gonna be honest. The secrets of what we're looking for in life, the keys to success that we're looking for, they're hidden in the books we won't read.
Wow.
And when I learned at an early age, I said, how many books do I got to get through to find the secret to key to what I'm looking for? And my biggest recommendation now to anybody is a book called The Magic of Thinking Big.
Wow. Yeah.
David Schultz, right? I'm like, number one, it's funny. I literally just finished moving into this new condo less than 30 days ago. I have a suitcase here full of books.
Let's go.
My bookshelf hasn't come in yet.
Yeah.
And people, reading the books, it can't be something that you do to pass time.
Right.
It has to be something that you are consistently and intentional with. It's like, okay, I wake up in the morning. How do I get my mind prepped to start the day? Because there's a bunch of negativity outside these four walls.
Exactly.
Right. So I always tell people mindset and reading and personal development and podcasts and all. That's why I love your podcast as a whole. So productive and conducive towards our goals. People don't understand how much we really need these things.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because in the world we're living in, talking about the world of uncertainty today, where every day there's recession thrown and inflation thrown and market crash and interest rates, and people are just so scared. You have to have your mind ready. Your mind is ultimate, like, I'll put it like this. It's probably the best analogy I can use. If I go to the club with you, okay, Marcel?
Yeah.
And let's say there's somebody that just hates your podcast. They want to be like you.
Right.
And all over social media, they're saying, I'm going to go to the club, meet Marcel, and I'm going to punch Marcel in the face.
Right.
Okay. We knock on wood. We don't ever want that. But let's say the thought on social media.
Yeah. Right.
That individual walks into the club. Everyone around them is like, hey, here's the guy that's going to punch Marcel in the face.
Right.
He comes up to you and says, in 3, 2, 1, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Right.
More than likely, you're going to say, let me punch you first or get away before you punch me in the face.
Right.
That's what personal development is.
Yeah.
Personal development is that security blanket, that safety net of, what negativity is going to come my way, but I'm going to be ready for it. So when it comes, I can dodge it.
Exactly.
Or I can take the punch and be like, I was ready for it.
Exactly.
Because oftentimes we hear the story about the individual that gets into, God forbid anybody falls into this category, listen to this, but the story of the people that get into a car crash and the drunk driver survives, but the other person dies.
Yeah. And
most time it's because the other person wasn't expecting the crash.
Right.
But the drunk driver was able to, even if they were drunk, they're able to do this, to hide themselves in the glass or whatever the case is. Personal development, same thing.
Yep.
When you are aware negativity is going to come your way, when you're aware adversity, obstacles, challenges are going to come, you're ready for it.
Ready. Yep.
Take it on and move on. So mindset is everything to me.
I love that perspective, man. That was great. Yeah. You're just ready for it. When you put that work in and you kind of dive yourself into personal development, whatever's thrown at you, you're ready for it. I really like that example that you gave to us here, Andre. Thank you. So I want to shift to mental health, because, mental health has been at an all-time high with the pandemic going on, people being stuck inside, a lot of people suffering with anxiety, depression. I think it's important to really discuss mental health. So my question to you is, how important is mental health and how do you manage your mental health?
Mental health has grown in importance to me. I'd say more over the last 6 months.
Right.
I've shared this publicly, so it is what it is. About almost 6 months ago, my dad passed away. And in
my
that
condolences.
Moment, I appreciate it. In that moment, I felt so numb to emotions. Everyone's looking at me like, are you okay? You're going to cry? You're going to scream, upset? I just felt so numb. I didn't know how to handle my emotions. And I think being a Black man, we're kind of told subconsciously, crying is for the weak. Sharing your emotions is weakness. So it's looking at it as vulnerability, we look at it as weakness. So as a whole, I've kind of dealt with my mental health over the last several years of saying, okay, I'm just going to push things to the side, bottle it all up, and just grinding harder and harder and harder. And it wasn't until the passing of my dad where I was like, you know what? This is a celebration of life. He's not really gone. He's more so being celebrated now. He's now where he should be in heaven. So for me now it was, okay, cool. How do I put myself in a state of mind to keep pushing forward, opposed to going the old route of saying, let me just bottle everything up and just keep grinding. You know what? Let me go back to the things that are most important to me. When someone asks me, Andre, what does success mean to you? And I appreciate the comments, right? Tell everybody, I'm not successful. I mean, I don't ever want to be full of success. I could be experiencing success. But success to me is peace of mind and happiness. Until I feel at optimal level of peace of mind and happiness, I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing what it is that I do. So in knowing this, I said, let me get back to what's important for me, happiness. What makes me the most happy? And it's crazy because people would probably see me walking down the street. You're probably never going to see me in a suit and tie unless it's like a wedding. But people are going to see me on the street and be like, okay, here's somebody that probably listens to trap music or hip hop or whatever it is. And don't get me wrong, I do love my little baby and Pop Smoke. Most times if you listen to my AirPods or listen to me at home, I'm listening to Osuna, I'm listening to Annie Well, I'm listening to Afro, I'm listening to high upbeat music that makes me want to feel good now. That's what it's having a great mental health. Is put yourself in a feel good now moment all the time.
Yes, I love that.
So music has been my number one key thing when it comes to keep my mental health at an all-time high. Music for sure. Second, the gym. I think a lot of people, it's actually sad. I talked to my brother the other day and I showed him somebody's Instagram based off of their clothing brand they had going on, And he goes, I can guarantee you this person probably just came out of a breakup. They just got fired or something bad's happened in their life. I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, only then people go to the gym. I was like, whoa. And it's so true. I gotta work on myself now because they don't want me or whatever the situation is. I said sometimes we gotta go to the gym for mental health, just as a way to feel good about ourselves, not worried about proving somebody else wrong. Let's prove ourselves right, that we deserve happiness. So
exactly, yeah.
Mental health is very important to me, and it's been a big thing for me to really showcase to people that, hey, you know what, you can go through things and share with people. So like even going through my dad's situation, like throughout the funeral and the flying him back to Jamaica, the funeral out there, posting all this on my stories, and everyone's like, how are you so strong to go through this and post it?
Right.
And I think, for one, it's not for clout, but somebody has to be the guinea pig to go first and show you can go through things, show people things, and not only show the highlight reels of your life on social media where you win the lottery or you got a new car or birthday. Show the low stuff, show people you can do it too. So very important to me.
I like that. So mental health is extremely important, and make sure you guys are managing your mental health and taking care of your mental health, whether that be going to the gym or listening to high frequency or high beats or up tempo type of music that put you in that state. So that's great advice that you're giving our audience here who may be struggling with some mental health issues. And it's okay to talk about it. Like you said, don't bottle it up. It's okay to talk about your mental health. All right. So I want to transition to ask you this question. You know, like a lot of people, you know, there's this thing about financial freedom, wealth, like people want to get on that path. So my question to you is, what are some steps that people can take to get on the path of financial freedom and wealth building?
Absolutely. Great question. I think number one, I would say, actually, I'll say this. If you go on my Instagram, theandregordon, select the link in the bio, I have an ebook.
Right.
Okay. I have an ebook. I believe, I don't know what the price is, but it's next to nothing of it. But that ebook, I give 5 steps to beat the recession.
Right.
And 5 steps, I truly believe, kind of go hand in hand with what I did to kickstart my entrepreneurship career, but also goes hand in hand to kickstart my roadmap to financial wealth. So in that said, the first step I believe a lot of people need to focus on is getting their mindset right. We talked a little bit about earlier. Now, when I talk about mindset, I'm not saying, okay, go find the first book you're going to read and do it.
Right.
First thing I want to tell people is get out of the defense victim mindset and focus more offense. Okay. So in knowing this, instead of having the thought process of, man, I spend too much money, it's like you don't have a spending problem. You just don't make enough money.
It's true.
I mean, so it's not, I got to cut back on this, and you just don't make enough money. But the oxymoron of that as a whole, kind of switch gears the other way, I believe the first step is removing the stupid purchases that we make on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Now, when I say it, some people are like, what are you referring to? I'm referring to the Uber Eats, the DoorDash, the skip the dishes.
Right.
Now, many would say cut the Netflix. I'm not going to say cut the Netflix. I think Netflix sometimes is good for your mental health, to have a TV show or a movie you can watch to pass time and take care of yourself. First thing I'm talking about is shift the mindset. Go offense opposed to defense. Second, immediately, is do whatever you possibly can to create a second stream of income as fast as possible, preferably in the digital space.
Right.
Okay. So I have a lot of friends that I know that follow me, and they do eyelashes, they do nails, they do hair. And I tell them, I'm happy you do these things, but there's going to come a point in time where you got to figure out a way to turn this into an online business.
Yes, 100%.
And they're like, oh yeah, I take my appointments online. I'm like, no. That's 10% of it.
Yeah.
Online. So when I say going online, I'm talking about creating something, whether it's intellectual property that you create, or something such as learn to day trade, or e-commerce, or Airbnb, or Turo. You need to create that second stream of income, because second stream of income today, it's not luxury anymore. It's now a necessity. Right.
You need it. Right.
So I would say those are the first 2 steps: mindset, create second stream of income, or decide on what your second stream of income is going to be. I would say first, second, and then third, find a mentor as fast as possible. Don't worry about what it's going to cost you. I promise you guys, it will cost you a whole lot less in time. The most important thing in this world, not money, it's time.
Wow.
And it'll be so worth it if you just invest into a mentor. If they tell you it's $10,000 for 12 months for the mentorship, go figure out a way to get the $10,000 to get a 12 mentorship, because it'll be worth it for you.
Exactly. That's great. Thank you very much, Andre. You guys got to go and get that. I believe it's in your bio. You said the 5 steps to getting started. You dropped 3 here today. And I'm going to go and get that after. It's the Andre Gordon. I know there's a bunch of fake accounts out there on you. I don't know what people are doing. People have way too much time on their hands. but it's the Andre Gordon. I'm going to go and get that. Once we're finished this show here, I need to purchase that because I want to get better. I want to develop. And you've inspired me more today here to keep going. So get that. We're going to plug that after, but make sure you guys are going and getting that read that Andre has put together, and it's going to help you. So I want to ask you, we have a lot of videos that talk about education, like formal education, going to school. Some people say the only way to make it is to go and get a university degree. Other people say you don't need a degree. So I want to ask you, how important is formal education, like post-secondary education, university education, and our future income earnings?
This is one of those topics that's very interesting because I don't have kids as yet.
Right.
But I know my future kids will probably listen to this podcast and say, "Hey, Andre, you said I don't have to," or "Daddy, you said I don't have to go, so I'm not going."
Yeah.
I gotta be careful with my words.
Yeah.
But I feel the importance of formal education is, I think it's diminishing day by day, month by month, year by year. There's so much AI technology coming out these days, chat, GPT, and all these things.
Right.
I wish I had it back in high school.
Yeah.
But I feel it's not as important as it used to be. Now, that said, I think there are certain fields where it's necessary. I do not want a doctor operate on me that learned from YouTube.
Exactly.
I do not want my pilot that learned from YouTube. I want someone that went to school, that studied, that went through the test of time, went through the vigorous examinations to see if they were good enough to make it to the other side. So I feel for certain careers, it's necessary for anybody in business. And I'll say just business. Yep. I think the best education you can get is experience. Right. Before I had any success in day trading, I studied as much as I can from a mentor. I studied as much as I can from a course and academy videos. But I had to go do the thing to learn. You know what I mean? It's like swimming. You can read whatever you want about swimming. Until you're in the water, you won't know what to do.
100%. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's very important for those that are wanting to be a doctor, pilot, scientist, neurosurgeon, I guess in the science field, lawyer. Right. Kind of sort. I guess if you're very argumentative, you should be good as a lawyer, maybe. Yeah. But I think anything in the business world, personally, I don't want to say it's a waste of time. I don't think nothing's a waste of time. I will say this. Okay. I will say this. Here's the most important thing I think why it's good for post-secondary, and the only regret I have of not going to college university. Right. I feel like I could have got surrounded around a lot more high-level thinkers. Right. Minded individuals. Yep. Because I didn't go that route, I had to figure it out on the more difficult way. I had to and meetup events and trust this person, trust that, and connect me there. But when you're in school, everyone is there for a common goal of getting a degree, diploma, whatever they call it. I don't really know. Right. But everyone's there for higher lift and higher education because you're paying for it now. Yep. You know what I mean? So that's the only regret I would have. So I would say that's probably the number one thing, which I think is very important, because I actually was talking about it today with one of my mentees. They're talking so much about, Andre, you know what? I want to get in e-commerce. I don't got to talk to nobody. I just want to do very well. Just help me do that. Right. And don't get me wrong, money is fantastic, but I think the biggest wealth in this world beyond time is our network.
100%. Yep.
Right. So post-secondary allows you to expand your relationships and your network. Yep. Other than that, I'm not subscribing to that information.
Yeah, 100%. I like that perspective. And they say your network is your net worth. So there's an importance of having a network of people, whether that be through going to school or you build that network on your own. And I like that clarification, right? You don't necessarily have to go to school. It depends on what you want to be and depends on what you want to do. If you want to be a doctor, we all know that you have to go to higher education to take that. You can't learn that from YouTube. Or if you want to be a pilot, you must go to school. So figure it out what you want to do exactly. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a business owner, you might not have to spend 40, 50 grand going to university and getting a business degree that might not teach you how to run a business. What you might want to do is hire a mentor like Andre, who can give you the skills to build your business. So absolutely. I want to ask you this question. We are kind of wrapping up the show, and I do want to say we have 2 more questions left. I do want to say that you're dropping nothing but gems, a lot of knowledge here. I had no idea what to expect, but I'm learning so much. And you're a revolutionary person. You're changing the culture, you're changing the community, and you're doing so much for Black people out there. So I really hope that our Black folks that do view this, you go and show Andre some love. All right. Go show Andre some love for what he's doing. You know, because 10, 20, 30 years from now, the same people that we talk about here today on Black History Month, Martin Luther King, Andre Gordon could be that name that we're talking about, right? Marcel Hyde could be that name that we're talking about. So let's show some respect and let's support one another,
Absolutely.
right? I support what Andre's doing, and Andre took the time out of his busy day and busy life to come support my podcast. So I just want to thank you for that, brother, honestly.
No, most def. I'm appreciative. Out to everybody, hey, without people like you, there is no me. So how can I say I'm self-made? That's selfish. Right. Say something like that. You know what I mean? So 100%. We definitely got to support one another as a whole and think bigger than what we just got going on, our little problems.
Yeah, I like that, man. I like that 100%. So I want to ask you, what are some life lessons? Because you've learned a lot, my friend. What are some life lessons that you have learned that you think could help others on their journey?
One I definitely would say is be very cautious of your proximity. Right. We always talk about the law of association. You're the average of 5 people you spend most of your time with.
Right.
Very early on in my life, that made no sense to me. Yep. That was something that was very on the other side. I never really knew what it even really meant. So I spent time with everybody. I said, hey, I'm like a professional friend maker. I'm just gonna make friends with everybody, talk to everybody, answer my phone call, answer every text message. And older and older I got, I realized the importance of being absent sometimes.
Yep.
I always tell people sometimes you got to increase your value just by being less and less available to people.
Right.
And that's one thing that I'm very thankful I learned at some point, because as you start making money, people will say you change, but ultimately they're the ones that change. They start asking you for things that they weren't asking you for before. And you say yes because you not just want to help everybody and support people, but then that one time you say no, it's, oh my gosh, you've changed, you're this, you're that. And if I just had created that proximity, that gap ahead of time, it would have been a lot easier.
Right.
But because I got so close with I think everyone that knows me, you either love me or you hate me. There's nobody that's in between. Right. And if you hate me, it's probably because I didn't want to work with you based off your energy or you're a competitor, or you're a hater.
Exactly. 100%.
Right? But so I would say proximity and knowing the law of association is something I definitely would have wished I would learn sooner. Life lesson I think somebody can definitely take away and understand.
Yep.
Second, understand the law of compensation.
Right.
The law of compensation says that you're ultimately paid based on the value you bring to the marketplace.
Wow. Yep.
So I learned that the very only job I got fired at was my second last job. So many know me really closely know I've worked like 40 jobs between the age of 18 and 21. I've really moved around.
Right.
And I work at this place. It is what it is. MJR Collection Agency.
Right.
I was calling for them to pay their bills. The guy calls me into the office. He goes, Andre, you're not loud enough on the phone. And I said, I'm not a loud person. I need you to start being loud. I said, okay, cool.
Right.
So I'm looking at everybody around me and I'm seeing them being loud on the phone. So I'm loud next to calls, but eventually you go back into being who you really are.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, hey, I need you to pay your bills. And I'm hearing the excuses. Oh, I have to pay for my kids' education. I have to pay for groceries, da-da-da.
Right.
I'm a very understanding person. I'm a Capricorn. So I'm like, I understand. You know what? Next week, give me a call back. They overheard it, come into the office, fired me.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow. Next job I ever had, it wasn't even a job. It was kind of like a subcontract. I worked with this family.
Right.
And one individual in particular, I won't mention their name because I don't know who's.
Of course,
yeah. But they were the loudest person in this office. They walked through the door, and he was Italian. All I would hear was "Buongiorno." I'm like, he's so loud. 2-3 months later, found out he owns 2 private jets. He has multiple boats. He had friends that had Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghini. This guy was worth, I think it was like $100 or $200 million.
Wow.
So that was one of my second lessons of understanding that most times we hear that saying, the loudest person in the room is usually the brokest.
That's what they say.
Not true.
Right. It's true.
I now learned sometimes you have to project yourself to understand what it is that you're saying and who you are.
Yep.
That same individual taught me the next lesson, which I think is the last one I'll share with you guys. The importance of being a man and having a very, very great smelling, I don't know if you can just put that together, but very, very great smelling cologne.
Yeah.
He would walk from the front door, and in my office, I could smell his cologne.
Right.
From that moment onwards, I remember I went to his wife and I said, "What cologne is that he has?" And she said, "Oh, it's Tom Ford."
Right.
I immediately went and bought a Tom Ford cologne.
Yeah.
I promise you, Marcel,
Yeah.
from that day onwards, I don't think I've ever spent less than $100, $200 on my cologne.
Right.
Anyone I always meet in person, it's always, "Wow, Andre, I love your skin. Wow, Andre, you smell really good."
Yeah.
And I think that has allowed me to close a lot more business deals than a lot of people even expect.
Wow. That's a little secret people don't know. That's big. That's huge. So much valuable information dropped right there from Andre Gordon. You guys are going to want to go back, and you might want to watch this episode a couple times. Let all the information sink in, program this stuff into your mind and make this your paradigm, right? Let's make that paradigm shift here today. So, yes. So I want to ask you this concluding question. You know, I'm sad to say it's the last question because I feel like I'm in class. This is the professor teaching us here. But, you know, you guys can reach out to him after the podcast, after the show. Andre will drop all his information. And we did talk a little bit about this. You did go over it briefly, but I want to go over it again. But how important is personal development in your life? And are there any books or podcasts you recommend people get on today?
Yeah, there are so many. But I'll tell you my top 3 podcasts. Number 1, of course, Marcel Mindset TV.
Thank you, brother. Much love.
If you're not subscribed, I mean, what are you really subscribed to?
There you go. Thank you, brother.
Number 2, I would say Earn Your Leisure.
Yep, EYL.
It's definitely number 1. Number 2, everyone's always talking about and fall in love with.
Yep.
Now, the third one I think is someone that some people for sure know about, people don't really talk too much about, and that's the Joe Budden podcast.
Wow.
Now, why I say that is because sometimes they go through some topics that I'm just like, it's kind of toxic energy, but okay. But it's really good because it allows that podcast, they bring on different guests. It gives you perspective as to how other people perceive things.
Right.
But I love to be able to watch the journey of someone like Joe Budden, for example. Like I've watched him from when he started making music. I think it's Pump It Up was his big hit.
Yep.
I saw him go from there to Everyday Struggle. I saw him go from there to starting Joe Budden podcast with with Spotify.
Yep.
And then he went to a different network, and now he has his own network. So in watching this as a whole, it's exciting for me to pay attention to the information he's sharing, of course, the topics he's highlighting on, the special guests he's bringing in, so I can pay attention to their lives and research them.
Right.
But actually, just the development of him.
Yep.
I think sometimes what happens is, once again, we think about personal development, we always think books. We think podcasts, audiobooks, right? Yep. But sometimes personal development is just being conscious of who you're talking to and who you're listening to.
Yep.
That's very important about personal development. Understand, okay, if I'm willing to, like, I'll give you an example. My brother hates when I say this, but he now respects it. I always would say, if you don't make 6 figures, I don't care for your opinion.
Right.
And at the time, he would look at me like I'm crazy. I know, vouch. Like, this was my thing. He said, "Andre, keep that between you and us. Don't be telling people like you sound stupid."
Right.
Listening to people that were broke kept me broke.
Yep.
So I said, if you're not making 6 figures, I don't care for you telling me your opinion on my shirt, my car, my smile, my eyebrows. I don't care for anything.
It's true.
And I started doing that.
Right.
I uplifted my life. And then I changed it. Now you don't make $250,000 or above. I don't care to listen to your opinion.
Right.
Because I understand that is personal development to me. That's really important. Who am I subscribing to? Who am I listening to? So, so for podcasts, I would say those 3 for sure. Yours, of course.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
Earn Your Leisure, Joe Budden podcast, and books. I think everyone's going to say the common ones: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. Magical Think Big is fantastic, but I would say one that probably has shifted my life the most is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Wow, Outwitting the Devil. I've heard of that one. Yep. Yes,
that, I'm going to be honest, I believe that's the book. If you have any type of fear in your life, that book will remove it. I read that book, and that was the first book I ever read where I was excited to go home or excited to jump on a flight so I can continue reading. I've read the book, listened to the audio multiple times.
Right.
After I read that book, I promise you there's nothing I feared anymore. Public speaking, don't care, not in fear.
Yep.
Asking out a girl on a date, not in fear of, like, I'm not in fear of anything.
Yep.
Death, not in fear of it, a fear of God, of course,
Right.
not fear to die, but other than that, not out fear anything
Yep.
or anyone. But it came from that book because it allowed me to understand where is fear derived from,
Yep.
and what type of individuals live their life based off fear. You know what I mean? And a lot of people in today's society, what they do is they make permanent decisions based off temporary fear.
Wow.
Right. So a book like Out and Devil, I highly recommend every single person, regardless if you're deep in personal development or just started.
Right.
Start there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Andre. So you want to go and get Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And you also want to go and get Andre Gordon's book. You want to go and get his apparel, CEO Shit Only. You also want to get plugged into him and all the day trading stuff that he's doing, the mentorship that he's offering. And you guys are going to want to listen again to what Andre brought here on the show on this episode. So again, I want to thank you, Andre, for coming on the show. Me, myself, I've been on this personal development journey, and I'll tell you this, some of the things Andre said here today is new stuff to me, and I'm learning from this man right here. And if he's able to teach us in this 30 minutes, imagine what he could do if he had you as one of his mentees. You know, we wish you nothing but the best. We thank you for coming here again. And Andre, where can people reach you?
Yeah, I can be reached at The Andre Gordon. That's my name on every platform, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I'm heavily 99% of my time on Instagram. So if you're on my TikTok, you're like, where's all the content?
Yep.
Go to my Instagram. YouTube, I got some trading material. I've recorded about 6 to 8 hours of content actually for trading e-commerce to be uploaded in the next couple of days.
Yep.
But The Andre Gordon, reach me on Instagram. No hashtag, no underscore, no numbers, please. Yep. There's a bunch of fake accounts. And everything you need from me is the links in my bio. Just click on the link tree. Okay. And I got my mentorship available. I got a free Telegram channel. Yep. I have my CEOshitonly.com apparel. Everything on Instagram.
That's great. And I think you might have to start your YouTube channel, man, because you got so much good stuff that you're saying, man. People need to hear you, man, brother. You got so much wisdom and so much knowledge. I really hope you start a YouTube channel. And I feel like you might even have a book in you too, my brother. Honestly, you might have a book.
I have a book I'm actually working on, actually.
I felt it, brother. I felt it. I felt it.
I have one called Survival to Significance. I've been writing it for quite some time.
Wow.
Where I'm at. So how I've been writing this book, it's always been based off different chapters and different pivotal moments in my life.
Right.
So I personally feel like what's interesting, the last 2019 to 2022, I would say.
Yep.
Like I was kind of stuck in my book because my life wasn't really elevating. It was plateaued. And don't get me wrong, doing very well, but there was nothing significantly changing except money.
Yep.
And money isn't the determinant motivator to me. It's peace of my happiness. So I've been working on that book, but I give a lot of free value in my Telegram channel where I give a bunch of value on a day-to-day basis. But I'm gonna be honest, a lot of where I really share the gems and the information people really need to change their lives, I offer it in my one-on-one mentorships, to be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. So get signed up for that, guys. Again, we have Andre Gordon on the show. Thank you again for coming on Marcel Mindset TV. Remember, guys, subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button below. And if you found any type of value, and I know you found value from this episode, from this podcast here today, make sure you go and share it to a friend. Again, Andre Gordon, thank you again for coming on the show at the Andre Gordon on Instagram. All the best, my brother. It's only up from here for you, brother. Take care.
Thanks for having me, bro. Appreciate you.
All right. Take care.